Hello again, everyone, and welcome back to End All Wars, which is an Asiad title that is trying to simulate World War One. That's why it's called To End All Wars, because at the time they really did believe that this war would end all wars. There would not be another war that is a world war like this because it was just too costly, and it was just one of those things that, they were thinking, there's just no way we're going to do this again. And of course, that was proven to be a lie, what, about 20 years later? Because I guess this finished in 1917 or 1918. And then in 1939, World War II broke out. And a lot of people actually say that it's really all one war because, it was almost the same and protagonists, almost the same belligerents. The only real huge difference, I guess, well, two huge differences is Japan and Italy in World War II sided with Germany, whereas in World War One they sided with the West in what was called the Western Entente. Well, yeah, Western Entente, and they did not side with the Allies in World War Two, which was that was a pretty harsh reality because Japan had become a pretty big power by the time World War II occurred. Okay, neutrals blockade. We selected this in our last turn. Background: almost immediately after outbreak of hostilities, Great Britain imposed a blockade on Germany in the North Sea. The blockade was extended to include inspections and seizures of any neutral shipping that was suspected of aiding the German war effort. This measure was not popular in neutral nations, but helped tighten the grip on the Central Powers. Conditions: Great Britain must not be neutral, and of course they have. Great Britain has entered the war on the side of the Western Entente. The blockade is checked twice per turn instead of once. United States, Italy, and Ottoman Empire all shift -5% away from Entente. It's kind of a weird way to say it. They should just say all of them shifted 5% away from the Entente, which meant it was -5% alliance with the Entente. So, and for very big events, they give you a click down here so you can just pull them up automatically. The Anglo-Japanese Treaty background: originally signed in 1902. The Anglo-Japanese alliance was designed to keep Russian ambitions in the Pacific in check. Reaffirmed and expanded after the Russo-Japanese War of 1905. It served as, and I saw on YouTube where somebody said they'd never even heard of the War of 1905, which I guess is not that surprising because unless you're really into this type of stuff, you haven't heard of it. But most people who I would say most people who love these type of games probably have heard of the Russo-Japanese War of 1905 because they had the big naval battle of Tsushima, and Japan destroyed a very large fleet of Russian from the Russian side, and it was kind of the same idea that they used to attack Pearl Harbor. Of course, by the time Pearl Harbor happened, they had aircraft carriers instead of just battleships, but it was kind of the impetus to say that they could, pull a sneak attack on a large naval base like Pearl Harbor and get away with it, which of course they did. They just didn't get the targets they wanted, which were the aircraft carriers. Okay, so reaffirmed and expanded after Russo-Japanese War of 1905, it served as a catalyst to bring the Japanese into the Great War against Germany. In return for their aid in rooting the Germans out of their Pacific holdings, the Japanese gained control over most of the previous German colonies in the Far East and strengthened their position against China on the mainland. This event can only be played if the British Empire has joined the Entente, which it has. Affects Japan, shifts 50% alignment towards the Western Entente, which they did. And they are actually on our side. Alignment 100%. I don't know if I think I think next turn I'll be able to move Japanese ships. That's not mine. This is locked. And this is locked, I believe. Here's Japan. Yeah, see, we can't click on Japan yet. So next turn they will have joined the Entente, but this turn they're just in the stages of having been accepted. Um, let's go through this. One of your ambassadors has increased support in Italy, Greece, Belgium, Portugal. That has all of the messages. And then those are the two things that I read just then. Central Powers is besieging Luxembourg, but achieved nothing this turn or this month. But then we moved into Luxembourg, and they retreated. If you look at this, my strategy, they have this river, and I'm not sure what the river is, but they have this river. I guess I could check it out on the map. We're on the west side of the river, and the Germans are on the east side of the river. But the river kind of runs almost in a westerly fashion, so it's almost like if you go north up here, you're crossing the river. And one of the early issues of the game or the war that we're working with is that we're trying to get across that river. And see, and right here we are across the river. So you can either come up this way or you can come across up here where they're more lightly defended, which is kind of, in a sense, that's kind of what we're planning on doing. Let's, he's all right. He's all right. So we got these 5 units that don't really have anywhere to be placed. Let's see. So the Central Powers have a force of 877, a force of 575, a force, and this is all down at the bottom where it says also here. A force of 333, and then 146 and 204, and then also Von Kluck, which his power is 551. So they got a lot of power there. I don't know if we should pull back. I don't think. Okay, so I have this army selected, and one of the things that the the game does is you have kind of zones of control. So if you have your unit selected and then you have these red regions, because of zone of control, you can't move into those regions. So he can only retreat back to one of the ones that we already control. He can't move forward because of the troops that Germany already has in this area. We can't bypass them and march away from them to the east. We have to either go west or stay in this one. I would love to go here, but obviously I cannot. I'm going to put him on defend and retreat instead of just to defend. I'm actually going to move him back because I don't think there's anything to be gained to be trying to fight in this area. I think we actually lost the battle that we just had in there. I can't remember if it was this turn. Yeah, here we go. We lost the battle against the Central Powers in Val De Moselle, which is that region. 0 national morale was lost, but yeah, here we go. So we lost 82,000 men, 83,000 men really, and they lost 86,000 men. We lost 1,457 horses, and they only lost 561, and then 66 guns on each side. So yeah, we did lose that. Even though they lost more men, we lost more horses, and just strategically, I think is what they're trying to say here is that we lost this because we couldn't push them out, and they have a lot more troops here, 560,000 compared to our 382,000. So we lost that. I don't have a problem with that because we did lose it, and there's nothing to be said about that other than do better next time. 59 Belfort. I always go through all of the message because you never know what you're going to find in those messages that turn out to be very important. So as you can see, this is a full army. It's not given a number for whatever reason. So just about every one of the other armies are the Premier Army, the Deuxième Army, the Troisième Army, the I forget what the is it Quatrième. See, this one doesn't have a number either. Yeah, Quatrième Army, and then of course this one doesn't have a numerical either. I think there's a way to change these names, but I'm not really sure. If you press shift, I don't know. I thought there was a way to change the names, but I could be wrong. I could be thinking of another AJOD title where they allowed you to do that, because you do get kind of these weird, like this one's name is Armée Française. Well, that's because the overall headquarter leader Joffrey, he's in charge of this army. Look at that. Oh, these are all okay. Yeah, no, that's right. And then you have this army, which is the Deuxième Army. So, and I don't know where the Troisième Army is. Oh, that's what this one is. Yeah, he's the Troisième Army. And if I mispronounce that, I took French in high school and in college, and I also, when I was 5 years old, I could actually speak French fluently. But over the years, I lost the ability to speak it fluently. But it made, having known it when I was young, it made it very easy for me to take it in high school and college and get through it with straight A's in each class. But that doesn't mean I don't mess up the pronunciation of names, because sometimes it's what you think it is, but then sometimes it's not what you think it is. We That's another guy that we want to get unlocked at some point, but he's only a 2-star, which is unfortunate. But I think he unlocks when Italy joins the side of the Entente. But what do I want to do up here? Do I want to do anything? So we have a force of 252, or that says 120. Oh, okay. Oh, that's the total power is 252. It's 121 plus 131. What do I have here? I think I'm going to go. And then I'm going to move him. And he is active this turn, so I'm going to put him on offensive. I don't think I'm going to do anything down here. I did move this guy. What else do I want to do? Do I have any diplomats that are unassigned? No. Let's just take a look. Italy's at 54% aligned to Entente and 46% to Central Powers. We get a few decisions that will push Italy closer to being on our side, and I imagine that the Central Powers will get some more decisions that push Ottoman. They're already at 96% aligned to the Central Powers, so they're probably coming in the side of the Central Powers within the next 2 or 3 turns. Greece, it's still kind of fairly even, but eventually I think they will come to the Entente. And then, of course, Belgium is kind of a crapshoot. Holland is kind of a crapshoot. Just depends. Portugal, we're very close to having them on our side, and that what that means is that in the African region, we would have control of that. No, that's Italy, and that's Italy. So, but we would have control of these two, and they do have some military forces there. Okay, he's active. English Africa, Cairo. We're already moving him, so I think we plotted him already. The Grand Fleet is in port. I saw down here that they suffered 29 hits. Even though I have this on automated, I can still go in here and buy some. So they have 40 for that, 30 for that, 20 for coastal ships, 15 for heavy, 20 for light warships, 10 for heavy warships. So the way that most Asia games do it, I'm not sure if it's true, but one of these little replacements will replace 3 hits up here. So 10 would replace 30, and there's only 21 missing, so it should cover that, give or take. All of these units have received replacements. And then New Orleans, and I've got these guys moving. So we've done a lot of this stuff. I probably have already went through a lot of this. Entrenched in Belfort, which is here, and entrenched in Luxembourg, and we lost 7% control of Val De Moselle, but there's nothing there, so I'm not too worried about it. And then Maurice Sorel has been congratulated for actions against the enemy, and max entrenchment is now level 3 on the Western Front, and level 2 on the Eastern Front, and Balkan Front is level 1 elsewhere. So yeah, let's take a look at what's going on over here. We've plotted that to come here. This area, fighting in this area is really tough because the weather is usually harsh and it takes a lot out of your troops, but we'll try it. All right, let's go ahead and run a turn. That was kind of a long first turn. Yeah, as more and more nations join each side, you have more and more nations that join your side, and then you have to kind of start commanding their forces as well. So when Portugal joins the Western Entente, I'll have control of their military forces, what little they have. But this next turn, Japan will be on my side, and I'll have control. Their fleet is really the big item on the Japanese side, and you can't take any of their troops out of the Far East because the game just won't allow it. So it's not a huge help, but you can use the Japanese to take maybe a couple of strategic colonies from the Germans, but it's very difficult. But we'll give it a shot. See, they're moving a lot of their troops down here into the southern part of the line. That worked out very well. We're sieging Thionville now. It's still very early in the war, too. All right. Bulgaria, Italy, Greece, Belgium. The Third Boer War. Background: when Great Britain entered the Great War, it brought its dominions into the war as well, including South Africa. A large number of the Boers who had fought the British a decade earlier had ancestral ties with Germany and little love for the British. Throughout 1914, loyal South African forces were tied down, suppressing the revolts that occurred in Boer territory. Conditions: Great Britain must be in the war. Effects: the Third Boer War uprising begins in South Africa. Troops will be required to suppress the rebellion. Dujam Army is committed against the Central Powers in Thionville. That's here. They're besieged. It's a size 3 city and a size 2 fort, and there's a force of 124 inside the fortifications. And then there are a lot of planes that flew recon missions. I was already looking at that one. General issued conflicting orders, and 4 Corps d'Armée reverted to a defensive stance. Where is that? I think that's down here. I think that's him. He needs to stay down here. I actually want to move him here. Let's see. Yes. So it'll take 1 day. So now we still have 2 armies here. And then this will have 2 armies as well. And then we have this force. And 11. We need to... What we really need is somebody else to become a 3-star. We do finally have the British. I really like this Allenby. He is a British Commonwealth commander. He can lead units of British, South African, Canadian, Australian, or New Zealand nationality without penalty. And he's a fast mover. I really want to get him to 3 stars as soon as possible. So let's make sure that he doesn't combine accidentally with anybody. Let's move him here as well. They have a pretty good amount of troops there. I don't want him inside. I don't think he is. So we doing down here? Are we getting these guys settled? He needs more troops, and so does he. So what we'll do is we'll bring them by train. Let's see what's going on up here. The Admiralty is unlocked. British Army, he's still locked. This guy, the Channel Fleet has 3. I can't mouse over it, but I mouse over this part and it shows that down at the bottom it says transport capacity 0 of 300. And then if we look at this, at the very bottom it says their weight is 16, so we can easily put them in that fleet and then move them to France. I don't see any German fleets, but that doesn't mean that they're not there. The Grand Fleet we'll just bring them out here just for a look. Take a look. Evade combat, naval interception. That's a lot of power. That's not bad. Something I really want to do at some point, if I can. I actually want to no. British. Oh, here's that thing. Great Britain uprising. The decision has been added. The decision can be removed by doing a right click on the icon. Penalty. Maybe I could do that. Great Britain. So this can be removed. Can be suppressed by troops. 2% chance per infantry and cavalry element. And so he has. I think that means he has 3 elements. 3 more elements. 3 more. I think that's what that means. But regardless, at some point, we'll move these guys to Southampton. Move these guys to Southampton. Preparation for embarking. I could move some guys out of Ireland, but I know that there's going to be an Ireland uprising, which is one of the issues with these games is you already know some of the things that are going to happen, and you plan what you're going to do based on your historical knowledge of what happens. And it's kind of, in a way, it's kind of gamey. Everybody's always talked about that. He is an admiral. Canadians are active in North American Fleet. They have a transport capacity of 84. That's locked. That's locked. That's locked. And that is not locked. So we could move these guys. I almost want to move them down here to South Africa. If we could get one of these guys to be an army general, we could eventually, hopefully, hopefully promote him to an army commander, which would be ideal. Here's the French troops that we transported from Algiers. We'll move them. Let's move them back to the train. So let's take these transports. Where do we want them to go now? Not to Tripoli. It's neutral right now. Is that locked? Yeah. He unlocks. I'm pretty sure he unlocks at some point. So we'll go there. That's Algiers too. Once we get there, we might come over here just to make sure that, yeah. Is anybody here? Oh, there's Portugal. All right, let's see. 12. These are all infantry replacements, the training of let's get them over here. Paris. That they are both ready. Rouen. Amiens, so Reims. Alright, 12, 8. Deuxième Army has entrenched. Western Entente has accepted Japan into its alliance. So, what does that mean? Well, that means that we now have control over a pretty significant fleet. Battleship squadron is being built. First squadron. As you can see, these are some pretty nifty little. Oh, and we've got this up here in Tsingtao Bay. Second squadron and transport squadron. Let's bring them down here. So Tsingtao is owned by the Germans. So if we can somehow take this, it's in China. Well, it says to China, to Qingtao. I don't know if this is in actual China, but it has a Chinese name, so I'm going to say it's China. And then a diplomatic mission is underway in Bulgaria. And that's that. So, let's see. We got to leave that here. This guy. We've besieged the Anvil, but nothing has happened. Its structure is intact right now. I really don't know what this guy thinks he's going to be able to do here, unless he comes here. But if you come here and then you go here, then we just cut him off and then beat him here. I've played the game where the AI was aggressive and they moved a pretty significant force into this area down here, going towards Langres. and they got cut off, and I destroyed them completely, and it was made the game so much easier to win at that point. And that's one of the things that, being on an aggressive AI can sometimes do, and it kind of leeches the fun out of the game. To be honest, I know what I need to do. We need to build some more troops. Let's do some artillery as well. Heavy artillery, okay. Then some heavy artillery for France. And then let's see. We're still building this stuff. HMS. Oh, I'm not going to. I might do that. I don't know. It'll drop my national morale to 96. Let's see what this tells me. Central Powers is, their morale is 87. We outnumber them 202 to 151 on land and 104 to 41 on sea. The Central Powers have lost 658,000 men, and we've lost 391,000 men. And we've captured 1,000 prisoners. Our victories are 55-40. Central Powers are 65-54. And these are our objectives. And they stay like that for a long time, because it's very hard to just in 1914, 15, or 16 to get to Berlin or to get to Paris from the other side. It can happen, but it's very difficult to do it in the early war. You got to kind of break it open. What about down here? Do we have anything we can do down here? I could move, but neither one of these guys is active, unfortunately. So we won't do anything for that with them right now. Let's save our turn. And have I done everything? Let's take a look over here. Okay, so 33% penalty. It doesn't show it over here anymore for some reason. It used to show like the percentage over here, but now it just shows it over here. We got a 33% penalty because we have too many troops. Is he quickly angered? Alpine Jaeger tactician, British Indian commander. Okay. That means we can, let's see if we can't, so what did I do? I just enabled brigade command for this general, James Wilcox. And what has that done for my, oh, it's still at 33%. So what I'll do, I think, is take one of those out. I thought I took one of those out, did I? No, see. I did. I took him out, but so as you can see, his combat power is still 300 and something, but then you got an extra unit over here with a power of 122. Why does it keep saying he's in Kuwait? Be outside of Kuwait. Okay. So just by taking him out of this unit, I increased their total overall power when you add them together by 100 and something, because when this unit was still inside this unit, it was 300 and something. But now I took it out, and now it's 300 still, and this is 122. That's the power of having your required command and your provided command in sync with each other. If you provide less command than what is required, you'll get a penalty, and that's what was going on. I mean, we can show it again if just to illustrate it again. Add it back. So now his power's 317, but he's got this unit in here. But if I take that unit back out, which I kind of just did, now it's 340. So this one even went up because it was 314 or something, and then we got an extra unit that's 122. So you got to think about those things when you're playing this game. And do I want to? He has. Oh, that's right. The Ottoman Empire is not in the war yet. Let's take a look and see where they are. 97% Central Powers. So about 2 more turns and they'll be in the war. All right, let's play this turn out. Let's focus on over here just in case any battles occur. Yeah, let's take a look. Let's see what's going on. Things are shaping up. Oh, and I didn't do that. Well, I'm not going to... That decision I was thinking about doing was to move the Ottoman Empire 10% away from the Central Powers, but they're already at 97%, so it's a done deal. So I'm not going to do it. I don't want to lose that 5 national morale for something that I'm not going to stop no matter what. So, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm hoping I can get one more turn in. Ideally, what I want to do with the British is have 2 armies, 2 full armies, one under the current guy that's a 3-star, and then the other one under Allenby, who is a very good commander. And hopefully we can get him to the point where he's a 3-star so that I can make him an army commander. I thought I moved that guy. Maybe he will be moving. Wow, this is at Tsingtao. This is the Japanese. So I do have troops there. I'm kind of laying a trap for them in that area. See if they'll go through the trap. All right, let's see. The uprising in South Africa is causing financial and civil unrest, minus 50 VP, minus 50 state funds, minus 1 alignment. Each turn there is a 2% chance per infantry. So it's ongoing and it's costing me money and other stuff. But we are besieging Thionville but have achieved nothing. We have failed to engage the enemy in Kiatsho. The Qingdao expedition is committed against the Central Powers. Thanks to our victory, we took 500 prisoners. We won a battle against the Central Powers in region that's Tsingtao. And that's it on that front. So, where did I say? I think I have them going here. Let's just... We'll move them over here and let them garrison type duty. Grand Fleet. Okay. I'm going to take them back. This guy is active. We've got active units in New Zealand. So New Zealand squadron has a capacity of 43. They have a weight of 14, so we can do this, and then we'll move them here, and then we'll see what we can do over there. Canada, this guy is ready to go as well. The North American fleet has a capacity of 84. So if we do this, they have a weight of 42. So yes, we can. And then we want to take them. Let's take them here. Malta. Okay. I'm going to leave them there just in case. We got them there. We got them there. That's good. And he is not active, so he can't attack this. There's a power of about 336 inside Tsingtao, and we're at 366 power. So maybe we can starve them out. And then there's that. So this guy, I don't like him being there, but I don't know that there's any way I can push him out at this point. One of the things I like to do, and I've said this so many times before on so many playthroughs, I like to, what I call, quote, hit them where they're not, or hit them where they ain't at, is the slang American saying that people used to say in baseball, I think. But anyway, I want to go where they're not entrenched and have a lot of troops. So I don't think I'm going to do a frontal assault on this guy. I'm more likely to want to come up through here, and then at some point he'll say, you know, the AI will say, wait a second, we don't want this happening. You know, what are you doing? And actually, I could really start going across here at this point a little bit, maybe. Especially if we capture Thionville. What? If we capture Thionville, then I will start kind of cleaning up in this area. And that'll probably cause all these troops to pull back a little bit to try to stop me from taking Mainz and Kaiserslautern, and Speyer, and then moving down to Strasbourg, because if I get all three, if I get Mainz, Kaiserslautern, Speyer, and Strasbourg, that's going to be a very scary proposition for these troops here. They'll be in danger of being cut off, and they certainly don't want to do that. I actually think I'm going to call this episode to an end here, even though I only did 2 turns. But there's really not much I'm going to do on this next turn. I'm still waiting for this to happen. He's inactive, and he's still trying to regain some of his cohesion, I believe. And Oh, one thing I do want to do, I believe. No, I've got. So let's see. I've got a major mission right now going on in Italy. They're at 58% entente. I have a mission in Greece. I have a mission in Bulgaria, but they do too. That offsets mine. I have a mission in Belgium, and they do too, which offsets mine. I have in Portugal, and they're at 98%. So at some point, this diplomat will be freed up. I do want to do something. I want a new general. I want to get some new generals for France. I think we need some. So the next turn, I don't know if it's 3 or 6, but we'll get either 3 or 6 generals in Paris. So that's something to watch for next turn. Anyway, I think that's going to be the end of this episode. Thank you all very much for watching. I'm trying to get back into playing Asia games and understanding what I'm doing. This is one of the more, I don't want to say necessarily forgiving titles for making mistakes, but if you get to a certain point in this game, it's kind of like things stabilize and there's not a bunch of moving around in all different directions. Like with Pride of Russia, you got people going all over the place and getting behind your lines and going all over the place. This is a little bit easier to keep that in check. I think it's because of the fact that we have the rail system and it's easier to move troops around and block opposing forces off. So anyway, thank you very much for watching. If you like the content and want to join the community, please subscribe. And if you like the content, obviously press like and leave a comment. And I will see you next time. So thanks a lot.